Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today on AT Podcast. We're going to change the name at some point, but that's what we come up with for now. So, today we got Chris, Gavin,
Hey.
Jimmy,
What's up, guys?
and I'm Ramon. So, we're missing Matt today. He's working late.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah. But anyway, we just wanted to kind of introduce ourselves through this podcast and let you know that, hey, we're going to start doing this, see how it goes, see how many viewers we get, listeners, whatever. Eventually, maybe make it a video podcast, but for now, audio only.
Yep. So why don't we go down the line and everybody can kind of introduce themselves, what they do in the band. Let's start with Chris.
All right. Name's Chris. I play rhythm guitar for Absolute Threshold, and I also do backup vocals with Screams.
All right.
Oh, hey, everybody. This is Gavin. I am the drummer and kind of do a little bit of everything in the band, but mainly I'm the network guy, the show booker, and do a lot of the video editing. So
That he does. He also makes killer promo videos, so if you haven't seen one yet, you should get a life and check it out. I'm just
Oh,
joking.
shit.
I'm joking.
Oh,
Gosh,
fuck.
guys, come on.
I'm the Greek, and I lead guitarist and backup vocals, and I also just watch Gavin do all the hard work for booking shit. Yeah, you know.
All right, and I'm Ramon. I handle all the finances for the band. I take care of anything that has to do with money. I also am in charge of this podcast project, so we'll see how it goes. So anyway, we also wanted to kind of talk to you about some upcoming stuff we've got going on, working on new material. Right now we've got 4 songs in process. 2 are pretty much done, and 2 more are in the works, and tons of new riffs coming up. So
Yeah, I think at the time that we're recording this podcast, we've unveiled 2 of them live,
Yeah.
right?
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and I don't even think we picked a name for one of the songs that we played
Right.
the other night.
Yeah, we don't even have a name
We
yet.
just started it.
So, anyway, I think a big thing too is we want to talk about some local bands on this. You know, give them some recognition for all the hard work that local bands do. And it's one of those things where people think, "Oh, dude, being in a band, that's easy." It's not easy. It takes a lot of work, and it takes everyone doing their part. And sometimes, we've slacked off. Certain people.
Oh,
Me
yeah.
and Gavin do everything in the band.
Well,
so-
and a lot of people just don't realize that there's a lot more than just writing a song and then performing it at a show. There's just so much that goes on into being a successful band. There's even a lot of meta things that go on in terms of like how a band works with each other. There's a lot of behind the scenes things that go on that you don't normally consider whenever you're starting a band or just thinking of how a band operates.
Dude, seriously, one of the hardest things ever too is coming up with a name for a band.
Oh fuck yeah!
It took us so long.
It took it. We've already
like 25 names at one point.
25, yeah.
Seriously.
we had so many and
And the best part is out of that 25 list, we didn't go with any of them. We found a name that just suited us so much.
yeah. Honestly,
true.
what I did was I think I just opened up an encyclopedia and just put my finger on the first word that I flipped through on.
Well, and I guess you guys should probably understand too, like our background a little bit more. We weren't actually Absolute Threshold. We started off as Blue Star a long time ago, and so after a number of years, we were like, you know what? This isn't the name for the band. It doesn't suit us. Doesn't fit us. So that's when we came up with Absolute Threshold.
No, yeah.
And like I said, it's been a long time trying to get
And
that stuff done. So.
the name of a band is also something you have to consider whenever you are starting a band because, we didn't even realize it, but when we were Blue Star, that deterred a lot of promoters and such away from booking us as a band, mainly because the name was misleading. We all the time. Exactly. Like a lot of people thought we were country, bluegrass, something like that. So a lot of times we weren't even considered for things. And honestly, like from a fan's perspective, when they would see Blue Star on a promotion flyer, that would deter some people away. I mean, it depends on who we were playing with and the context of the show.
Right.
But
totally.
I mean, that's just another example of how important it is to all these little things into being successful in this genre of art.
Which, if I may say, too, is also from you gain experience and it's a learning process. I mean, at one point in time, it was Blue Star, and we had our quintessential Bleeding Cowboy font.
Yeah,
the
which
logo. And then,
which
over time, you review, you revise. And,
exactly,
one of
which
the
we didn't realize until we moved to the city that everything uses that font. You'll be driving down the road and you'll just see Harry's Diner in fucking
That's true.
Bleeding Cowboy text. So there's a lot of things that goes into doing a band.
which only further attributed to the whole country band stereotype with the name like Blue Star. Okay, it's got like a little lasso thing going on.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you don't know what I mean, look up the Bleeding Cowboy font, or if you're really bored, look up Blue Star. I'm sure that'll pop up. You might want to visit our Facebook page. I heard there's some old photos on there.
Yeah, why don't we plug that information in?
Yeah, so
Right here.
check it out. We'll show you our link. And if you can't read it for some reason, it's going to be absolutethresholdofficial.com. It's going to give you links to our Facebook and also buying our CD, shirts, that kind of stuff, and upcoming information about the band. And if you're on the website, you'll probably see this link for this podcast. So
Yep. It'll
Definitely.
probably be the number one post on our feed.
It'll probably be the number one podcast in the world whenever it get
Could be.
views.
It could be.
could be.
Yeah,
Could take a little bit.
we're so interesting.
Anyway, so yeah, like I said, today I also want to talk about some local bands. We'll do that towards the end. I'll play a song of theirs, give you information about them, but that's coming up later on. So I think some other things too to talk about is booking shows. You know, it's a tough thing to book shows, and dude, I give our drummer Gavin some credit because dude, it's not easy. And dude, you got to work with a lot of these promoters, trying to work out rates and times and how much money you're gonna make or not make. I mean, it all depends mainly right now on ticket sales, and that's kind of how a lot of promoters see it. Not all of them, but a lot of them see it like, hey man, you need to sell X amount of tickets to get into some of these shows. And a lot of the bands don't realize, you know, we've just started talking about, why don't we just host our own show? Why don't we take charge of all of that, you know? Because it's one of those things where if you have control of it, it's easier for the bands, because you are a band, you know? You're out there to try and help everyone out instead of just, oh, hey, we're just trying to get some money. Which I know a lot of promoters are not like that. They are actually out there for the bands, which I do give props to a lot of them, but sometimes, you know, they have deadlines or they have certain things they need to meet when they're booking these shows. I mean, what do you guys think about?
You know, coming from like an outsider's view into our world, and I know I used to think this way too prior to ever getting into this. You know, a lot of people think whenever you go to a bar or wherever and you see, you know, a band or a solo artist doing something there, that the bar has paid them to come and provide entertainment, you know, to bring people into their establishment, when that is almost 95% of the time not the case. Bands are usually paying out of pocket to get a spot somewhere to play, or you've got ticket sales that you have to meet. So a lot of places are like, you got to sell 40 tickets at $10 a piece. And unfortunately, a lot of times you can't do that. And so if you sold 20 tickets, you're going to have to pay for the other 20 tickets, $200 out of your pocket, so that you can play that night.
And then even on top of that, with the whole like being able to actually play these shows, the whole 95% whenever it's those bands that are actually going out to play shows, that 5% is typically not original bands that are getting those sweet deals where they're actually being paid by the bar.
Oh, you're
Original
right.
Bands have the whole entire issue of not being able to receive that unless they're a cover band.
No, exactly. It's the covered bands that are making that are getting paid to go and play just because, you know, they draw on people. People know their music because, well, they didn't write it. They're playing famous songs, and so those establishments do want those people there and pay them to be there. Generally.
Yeah. Gavin? What are your thoughts?
That's pretty much it. I mean, I think it's a mix. I mean, I think it's important. Like, you have promoters out there that are really just show brokers, if you will. I mean, they're just finding a venue and they're getting bands together and they're kind of delegating the actual promotional aspect, where the bands should be on top of their game too, though. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, having to have that type of pre-sale is important if you have a touring band coming through. So, there's definitely many schools of thought to it, but the whole DIY aspect, doing it yourself, it's a lot easier than it seems. I think, honestly, I don't think people really realize that. Like, you can contact a venue directly. You call for other bands. I mean, this day and age, at least one guy in every band can put together a flyer or maybe a video. And, but also, this was all through a product of learning, a process of learning and whatnot. So I'm also saying this in hindsight, now that we've all taken on experience. So, anyway.
Yeah, why don't we talk about, since this is the first video and kind of introduction to this podcast and everything, let's talk about, how you get started getting shows. The process of, because the first show is not easy to get, and the show after that and subsequent, it just, you'll get to a point where you're being asked to play shows, but let's elaborate on how you get to that point.
Well, I think it takes it takes a lot of work, and you gotta really get yourself out there, push yourself out there, and like Gavin said, I mean, he hit the nail on the head. You gotta really talk to the venues, you gotta get out there, you gotta talk to the promoters, or even talk to other bands, because most likely you can get connections with them, and they'll be like, hey, why don't we book a show together, and then you can maybe jump on a bill with them, do something like that.
Yeah, so I would say the first step is, prior to trying to get your first show, is you practice a lot. Practice till you feel like you've got a solid, control on your music, and it's pretty much at that point as together as you can possibly get it. Because if you get your first show and you're shitty, that they're not going to ever want to invite you back. Right. So first, you need to get decent. You need to be at least presentable and do something that at least somebody's going to enjoy. I mean, if you are bad, just straight up bad, I mean, like anything in life, you're not going to go anywhere if you're shitty. So I think first you need to is get a solid ground on your music and, present it in a way that is interesting to people. And then I guess, what would you say, Gavin, would be the next step in, getting that first show?
Getting the first show in particular?
Yeah.
I mean, that's where it's trial and error. I mean, I would say that, it's primarily reaching out to venues and really, I mean, we all kind of came to Phoenix at the same time. So the rest of the guys, they came from the Clifton, Safford area. I came out from the New York, Long Island area. And I think it was just learning, what venue's the spot to go to, just doing your research. But then, after that, it's meeting other bands and just figuring out, okay, well, there's a musical genome out there. You have such a spectrum of, rock all the way to, super heavy metal. And finding, okay, what bands would work really well with us on stage? Where would someone, anticipate a night? No, they have that type of a musical package they're about to, engage, if you will. So, but yeah, getting that first show is a lot of it's just learning, where's the spots, and you're probably gonna play an awful first time slot. You're either playing 1 in the morning
or 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And it'd probably be a weekday show.
Which, although I know Ramon would love that. 7 p.m., all right.
Dude, that'd be
I
great.
could be in bed by 9.
That'd be fantastic. I would love that so much, actually. No, actually, it's not. 9 p.m., guys. 9:10 p.m. is
that is pretty prime time. And that brings up a good point. You're not going to get those spots until you've played enough shows to be recognized by the community and by the promoters and such that know already that you are good and that you can be the prime time slot for the band. That takes a while. You're going to play many shows before you get to that point.
Or the other alternative, back to kind of like the ticket sales. Whoever sells the most tickets gets to choose the time slot. So there's been actually quite a few show opportunities that we've personally had that actually create that kind of essential like rule binding deal with these shows where you sell 75 tickets, the other guy sells 50, you get to choose the best slot. So
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And all you new bands starting, expect it to just be friends and family for a very long time.
Yep.
Of who's going to be coming to the show, just friends and family, and that's just how it is. It takes a while for some, random person at the show to hear you, and nobody's going to immediately think, holy shit, I've got to come back and see these guys. I mean, in rare instances, the band might be awesome when they first come out, but yeah, it takes a while building up that fan base. So just expect mom and dad and cousin Jimmy to be there.
It's true.
Well, guys, I think we've talked a lot about what it takes to become a band, and these are just stepping stones, small stepping stones to get to that point. So I think we've kind of covered all what we wanted to cover. Kind of gave you guys an introduction to us.
Yeah.
I really wish Matt, our singer, could have been here, but like we said, he's working late today. So
Yeah, and then the next podcast, why don't we, when Matt's here, we can go into the history of Blue Star, and how that all started, how we all got into the band, leading up to Gavin joining, and give a history of who we are and how we got to where we are today.
Right, and I mean, on the next podcast, like I said, we will talk about. Like I said, I really want to talk about local bands, so that they can get recognition for what they do. So with that, I would say today's band, or this week's band, is going to be 3 Seconds More.
Yes.
They are amazing.
They are a personal favorite of mine. They are one of those local bands that you just are like, why are they? They need to be big. Everybody needs to
Agreed.
hear these guys. They're
Exactly.
so good.
Yeah, I mean, they have a drummer. His name's Zach. The guy is
He's a
phenomenal.
fucking drumming god.
Yes, he is amazing.
He's so much better than our drummer. I'm kidding.
Anytime I get cocky, I just go listen to Zach's drumming. I'm like, all right.
I know.
I'm mediocre.
But so anyway, that's the band we're going to talk about this week. They do have some shows coming up. It's actually they're having a show Friday, August 5th.
Yep.
But
So tomorrow. Well, the details right here.
tomorrow, details. We will put them up probably on our. I'll post them up on our Facebook page, so you guys can check that out. Just check out the show.
Is this going on? Like, are we uploading this tonight?
I'm gonna try and get it done tonight, but it'll probably be tomorrow morning.
Okay, that way I figure if anyone's listening, just a couple details.
Yeah, go ahead.
Shout out to our bros in 3 Seconds More. They're playing a show with Sin Shrift, A Moment to Rise, Rocket 211, and Slore. It's going to be over at Pub Rock. That's in Scottsdale. So over on like Roosevelt and what is it?
I don't know, but I'll be there. I'll be there
Never hang
tomorrow
on.
night. I'll be checking out that show. So hit me up.
That was where we played last, right?
no.
Was it
Pub Rock? No, we haven't played there yet.
No,
we played
New
Rock.
place.
What did we play last?
We played Road Bar.
Road Bar.
Not far from there at all.
Yeah.
Doors are at 7. I know 3 Seconds More, they're hitting the stage at 9. But you can hit them up on their Facebook page. I believe it's facebook.com/3 seconds more. If you are interested in tickets, they are freaking awesome.
Yeah, and show up early. If you want to support a band, freaking show up at least 5-10 minutes before they go on stage.
Scheduling always is kind of funky whenever it comes to any type of show.
Yeah, you'll find out that whenever you ask a band what time they're playing, they'll generally lie to you and say that they're playing 30 minutes later than they, or 30 minutes earlier than they actually are, so that you
That'd
actually
be
show
pretty
up on
crappy.
time.
They say, "Hey, we're playing 30 minutes later than we actually are." That's how you miss them completely.
Yeah. All right, guys. So this was our first podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to us.
Thanks for
spew our
plugging in,
bullshit.
everybody.
Yeah, and to end the show, I'm just gonna play a song off of The Machine, 3 Seconds More album.
Fuck yeah. Enjoy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for listening. Support local music. Go to shows. You can go out and catch Pokemon. You can go and support a local show, all right?
Yeah,
Do it.
And most of the venues, they have Pokestops.
Most of the venues
So
are
get
pokey
there.
stops.
But like I said, guys, big shout out to Zach, the drummer, to 3 Seconds More, Eddie, bassist, and Ryan, guitar player and singer.
Ryan,
These guys
who
are amazing.
also engineered our whole album.
He did.
We can get more into detail next time on Absolute Threshold Podcast.